Through 40 years of motocross in America, this track along the Pennsylvania-West Virginia state line has created its share of history. Great champions have carved their names into motocross history by winning at High Point Raceway. Pennsylvania's own Tony DiStefano, Honda's superstar Rick Johnson, the beast from the East, Damon Bradshaw, and the greatest of all time, Ricky Carmichael. For the 35th time, history will be made as the greatest dirt bike riders in the world come to Mount Morris, Pennsylvania. This is the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. Ally on NBC presents the best in action sports. Today, it's the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. We're in the rolling hills of southwestern Pennsylvania for round 3 of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. It's the 35th annual Rockstar Energy Drink High Point Raceway National. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ally Sports coverage of AMA Pro Motocross. Jason Wygant here, your host. And in front of me, behind me, around me, a huge crowd gathered to see the best dirt bike riders in the world do battle on one of the sport's most treacherous racetracks. We'll give you an idea what the series has had happen thus far as we show you the series point standings. It's dominated right now by the veteran from Australia, Chad Reed. Meanwhile, his chief competitors, Ryan Villapoto, Davey Millsaps, Ryan Dungey, Brett Metcalf, have all had up and down series already with some bad luck here and there. So a big question, can Reed keep the momentum going, or is this racetrack, which has led to a lot of drama in the past, about to unfold some more history? For more on that, let's send it to Chad Reed's pits with 4-time AMA National Motocross champ, Jeff Emig.
Chad Reed has built his points lead with 2 overall wins. And Chad, what's it going to take here at High Point to keep that train rolling and keep the red plate?
Hopefully the same thing, you know. High Point's been great to me. It was my first ever lights win, my first ever 450 win. So, yeah, just try to keep the ball rolling. I kind of feel like I'm tied on points right now. You know, I think Dungey had a really bad luck in Texas, and I just want to bring it every weekend, you know, just leave the race, win or lose, knowing that I brought it, you know, everything that I had, gave it all I had, and rode the best that I could. And so far, I'm just having so much fun because I'm riding to my ability, and that's as a racer, that's all you want to ask from yourself.
And for more on the reigning champ, let's go to Tiffany Simons.
Ryan, back at Freestone, in that second moto, you had a little bit of trouble with your bike, and not only cost you the win, but also valuable points. Now that you've had a week off, where's your head at, and what adjustments has your team made?
Well, I think Freestone was just an unfortunate deal. You know, it happened, and you know, I guess all the guys, we worked hard. You know, they're going to make sure it don't happen again, and nobody's fault. You know, it just happens. But had a good weekend off, got to enjoy some time and work on some things that we needed to improve. But absolutely, got here at High Point. Just looking forward to getting out there. Last year was fun, and always look forward to coming back here. So we got a strong team, solid setup, and feeling pretty good. So looking forward to it.
Good luck to you today.
Thank you.
Now let's go over to Jamie Bestwick.
We're here in the Monster Energy Kawasaki pits with the number 2, Ryan Villapoto, coming off a fantastic Supercross season. After a 2-year absence, Ryan's here at the AMA Outdoor Nationals. Ryan, how are you feeling this weekend at High Point?
Yeah, I feel good. With the weekend off, got some time under our belt on the bike, did some testing, got that better. So, you know, I'm just looking forward to hitting these races that I missed the last 2 years and, you know, looking for a win.
All right, after a subdued start in the first 2 rounds, look for Ryan Villapoto to be charging hard here at High Point, PA.
Well, the riders, bikes, teams, they are prepped for what should be a great day of racing today in Mount Morris, Pennsylvania. Stay with us for coverage of the Rockstar Energy Drink High Point National. Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championships are brought to you by... We're back with coverage, Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. The riders are getting ready for the moto as they take their warm-up lap in the mud. The rain has come down. We've also already completed 1 race today. We'll explain that with our Motocross 411. We race 2 motos every weekend in this AMA Pro Motocross Championship. We total up the scores from both of those races to determine an overall winner. Last year, Ryan Dungey got a big leg up on his championship run by winning this race, and he's going to have to rebound after finishing second in a moto earlier today, but we'll get to more of that in a moment. Right now, let's just focus on this racetrack. Jeff Emig, give us an idea of what High Point has in store for these riders.
Well, let's take a look at the track map here. Got a really deep, loamy uphill start. Gonna need the horsepower. as you've seen on that opening shot, we've had a little bit of weather, some rain come down, so it's going to make a track that's some pretty hard-packed clay, going to make it really slippery and hard and sloppy here for Moto 2. A lot of elevation changes up and down, some off-camber turns where that extra rain is really going to make it tough. Riders going to have to rely on their technique. Back behind the start, triple uphill, and let's go on board.
Ricky Dietrich here, going to show us the fast way around the track, but it looks dry right now.
Yeah, this is earlier today in qualifying practice, but this gives you a sense of what the lines are like on the track. Uphill triple, he goes 2-1, so he can nail the inside start. Inside corner. This is actually the first turn area. So as the riders come off the start, they're going to be taking a lot of roost. So getting this hole shot in Moto 2 as you come through this section is going to be really critical, because there's going to be a lot of mud, a lot of water, everything start to load up on your helmet visor, on your goggles, on the front of your bike, and weigh the bike down. Ricky here going through Lomi's section. Going to have a little knowledge here for what the second moto is going to be like. And this is one of those off-camber turns where if you can get into a rut, you're definitely going to be dialed in.
As we mentioned, we do have one moto already completed here today. We'll show you the highlights of that in just a moment, and that's the key in motocross. You must be consistent in not one but two races and in varied conditions. We didn't have any rain or mud to deal with in the first moto earlier today, and we'll show you the highlights of that in our Lucas Oil race recap. Off the start, Mike Alessi actually jumps through the gate. A couple riders down. Ryan Dungey steals the early lead. But Ryan Villopoto did not mess around. He immediately snagged the #1 spot from Dungey and took off, Jeff.
Yeah, he was flying. He rode efficient and fast. Dungey here chased him, but just could not catch him. I still think that Dungey in second. This moto's got a great shot for the overall.
Meanwhile, Chad Reed, your series leader, struggling, just trying to get into the top 5, battling it out here with Jake Weimer to get into 5th. Weimer would run into his trouble when under pressure. And David Millsap's closing in.
Yeah, and actually Reed in the first moto got hit with a rock in his left collarbone, and that really set him back. He struggled because of that, but man, watch Weimer here as he almost loses the Kawasaki, lays it down into the embankment.
Reed was able to get past Weimer there and then go after Kevin Windham to get into 4th. But he would still have to deal with Millsaps down the stretch of that race. So not the ride that Chad Reed wanted after winning the first 2 rounds of the year. The guy who did win, this rider, Ryan Villopoto, rebounding with a huge first moto win today. So that puts him in good position as we head to moto number 2. Jamie Bestwick, you were out there watching that one. Pretty impressive what Ryan Villopoto is able to do. First, we show you the results. Villopoto, Dungey, Millsaps. Mike Alessi, first race back in the Tour, crossed the line in 3rd, but after jumping to start, they pushed him back to 4th. There's the rest of the top 10. But how about that performance, Jamie, from Ryan Villopoto?
You know, just interviewing him this afternoon, he had a different frame of mind. You know, a lot of people said coming into this series, he had a lot on his mind after winning Supercross this year, which is a big deal. And then coming to the first 2 races, trying to make it happen, it just didn't pan through for him. But today, super focused. And that's what he needed to get back in the hunt for this championship.
How much can you change on the bike, Jeff, between the motos? We went from a dry racetrack to what's going to be a muddy and slippery one, and now it looks like the sun's beginning to come back.
Yeah, well, the big thing here, look at Villopoto's goggles right there. He's got tear-offs on the left side, on the right side, plus a roll-off system. So really prepared for all this wet, muddy condition that we're going to have.
All right, so explain how that works, the tear-off and the roll-off. They're 2 different goggle products.
Tear-off will clear all of the lens. A roll-off is a strip that goes all the way across, but you've got upwards of 100 pulls.
I see.
Now, a rider's only going to put, the most you probably put on is about 20 tear-offs, but, you know, before you start to lose the vision because of all of the layers of that clear Lexan.
All right, folks, the 30-second card is up, and now it's sideways, so we are just a few seconds away from dropping the gate and racing here in Pennsylvania. Dungey on the yellow bike and Mike Alessi on the orange, battling it out, and Mike Alessi going to grab the whole shot, and he's used to this. One of the best starters in the business has got the start.
And that was a Yamaha, somebody that slid in there, went a little wide. Let's see as they come over the tunnel jump there.
Dungey in second, Honda Rider in third, and Jamie Beswick, what are we seeing there?
You know what? Dungey again struggled at the start in race 1 in that second turn. He kind of went a little bit wide, the back end went loose, and it looked like it's happening again, but he's really picking up speed because he knows he can catch Alessi. And
that was a Lowell Spangler who was battling with Dungey. A local native, Pennsylvania, goes down, and this track is slick, Jeff.
Wow, and he should have the local knowledge on that, but I'm telling you, look at the water holes, guys.
Yeah.
As you see Alessi just rocking out front, and this is what's so tough. This is why Villapoto and all the other riders.
Christian Craig down, one of the young riders out here on the Lucas Oil Honda.
Yeah, that's why they need so many tear-offs and lenses. And look at Craig shaking his left hand because now his glove has got mud all over it, so it makes it hard to hold on to the handlebars.
It's absolutely incredible. You know, I was just down in the JGR pits, and I just saw the amount of detail they were doing to the bikes, getting them prepped because they knew it was going to absolutely throw down with rain, and this race was going to be very, very tough on the riders and the bikes.
But now the skies are clear and it's sunny out.
You've got the 12 of Tommy Hahn battling out there. But Michael Alessi trying to check out. Jeff, you said you got to get the start in the mud so you don't get roosted. Basically, the riders in front don't throw mud on top of you. So Alessi's in a good position right now.
Huge advantage at this point to be out front for Mike Alessi to keep his goggles clear, keep the bike light by not having a bunch of mud, stack up on the front fender, on the front number plate, possibly on your chest, in your lap area, especially on top of your helmet. And he can just go ride his own lines. Now, if he stays out front, the only problem that he may have is getting into lapped riders.
Now, Alessi got hurt at the first race of the year in California, knocked himself out, had to take a couple weeks off to recover from a concussion. Apparently, he has not lost much during those 2 weeks.
You know what? It's really tough. You know, every time you get a concussion, it really does set you back. But the minute you start to feel that urge and the physicality coming back into yourself, you're back on it again. And he's doing a fantastic job because that crash at the beginning of the season, man, that would knock a cow over. That was so tough. But this dude is tough. And that's what he's built his whole persona on, is being the tough guy of MX racing.
Yeah, yeah. They call him the Navy SEAL at times because he's so darn strong. And, you know, not really going to contend for the championship probably this year since he missed those first 2 races. But, boy, he could have if he could have just gotten on the track, because look what he's doing right now. Yeah, and technically, as far as technique and skill, to me, Mike Alessi is as skilled as anyone out there, especially coming up through his amateur career. And he's been in plenty of races like this. I mean, look at the gap he has. It was 6 seconds across the finish line, and now it's even greater. Well, what's had to change, that is Reed. So it was Dungey. Dungey has gone down. So that's how quickly things change, especially in muddy conditions in this sport. And this is the big double that they cannot get over.
Oh, well, Millsaps
can. He's working on Reed, Jamie.
Yeah, you know what? It's really crazy because I talked to a couple guys out there today, and they said of all the people who will do the best in these bad conditions will be Millsaps, because he is super consistent, whether it be dry, whether it be absolutely horrible like this. Because in PA, and I live in Pennsylvania, when these storms come in, they come in fast and then they clear and then it's bright sunshine. But Millsaps right now, he's going to take it to Reed, because in race one, he didn't show Chad Reed any mercy with him being the point leader. Davey Millsap's got a point to prove, and he wants to do well because the boss, Joe Gibbs, is right here in PA. Oh, and here is Dungey, who was second on the first lap. He goes down. He's lost a whole bunch of ground, Jeff. Yeah, and I seen him when he grabbed the bike. He first grabbed the right side of the handlebar. Okay, that's where the throttle grip is. It's a twist grip, and knowing that it's really important to keep the engine running, because once the bike is hot, it doesn't start so easy. So he grabbed the throttle, then the clutch, and kept the engine running. Definitely saved himself some time. So you're watching second and third here. Chad Reed, veteran out of Australia, leading the series standings. That's why he has the red number plate background, if you can tell, in the mud of the side of the bike. He is second, and Davey Millsaps is third. And yeah, he rides for that Joe Gibbs racing team, and Joe Gibbs, the coach, is here today. So Millsaps definitely has motivation, and it's paying off. He is, like you said, not intimidated by Reed. He's trying to get second place from him. No, and he's just come off a great result in Freestone, and he wants to do well this weekend. He does have a lot to prove, and he's a very good rider in these conditions, like we said. And that's going to be the key to the race today. Consistency. It has to be, because the conditions are absolutely atrocious. I think the only people that are clean are the people that are sitting in the stands, because everybody else is a mud bath.
And Mike Alessi.
And Mike Alessi.
I think Millsap just tossed his goggles already. And if you look at the countdown clock on the upper right of your screen, we are 25 minutes away from getting the 2 laps to go board. So Millsap's going to be riding without goggles for a good half hour here. Millsap, by the way, is 3rd in the series standing, so he wants to go after Reed. Maybe a championship threat, depending on how it goes. We've seen some bad luck for Dungey last week in Texas. Early in this race, you never know.
And why not? You know, he's coming off an injury, you know, and that's always tough. And now, you know, he's got his bad part of the season out of the way. The Supercross season really didn't go his way, but coming to this outdoor stuff, he's got a new lease of life. He's got a great team behind him who install the utmost faith in him. They give him the best trainers. They give him everything and anything he needs in order to go out there and position himself at the front of the pack.
You guys can see at the top of your screen right here, we're 23 minutes to go before we get to 2-lap board. And as this track changes, as all these off cameras, you slide down into the main line. That main line, that rut is going to get really deep. So this track is going to go away, and it's going to get even more difficult than what it is right now by the end of this 30-minute plus 2 laps moto.
2 years ago, Mike Alessi was leading the points in this series. He came to High Point a few days early to practice. He crashed. It ended his year. Does the track go on one? We're going to find out. Stay with us. We're seeing the best and worst of Pennsylvania weather with Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship Racing from Mount Morris. And we had rain earlier. Now the sun is back out. Mike Alessi, feels like it's a sunny day. Feeling good.
Yeah, and guys, think about it. There's 19 minutes plus 2 laps left in this. In the first moto, Alessi was docked a position. He finished 3rd in the moto. He was docked a position, so he finished 4th. Right now, you've got Villapoto, the Moto 1 winner, setting, or no, actually, now he's up to 3rd. So could that 1 position come back to haunt him and keep him from getting the overall here today at High Point?
Yeah, absolutely. If Alessi had a 1st and a 3rd, and Villapoto had a 3rd and a 1st, Alessi would win because the tiebreaker goes to the better 2nd race finish. But Alessi has a 4th because he got penalized in Moto 1. We'll go back from Alessi now to our 2nd place rider. There he is, Chad Reed on the Honda. It's an interesting situation, Jamie, where Reed couldn't find a ride, and a lot of people thought he was going to retire at the end of last year. He's riding without his goggles now, but he started his own team. Just wanted to come out and try one more time, and lo and behold, he's leading the championship standings.
And I think this is a big inspiration to anybody getting into motocross, because what he's done is pretty much what nobody else will dare to do. They all take these full factory rides, and they have the safety net of these big companies. But Chad, he's gone it alone. He's invested his own money. He's brought in people away from some of these other companies. And you know what? Right now, he's doing amazing things. And I think if he gets this right and the season goes his way, this really could be a fairy tale story for the privateer. And who knows, add another rider, bigger deals, it's going to blow up for him.
Yeah, this team could be really a force to be reckoned with even beyond this in the next couple of years. Villapoto just went by. He is in 3rd. We can tell you he's on the number 2 bike, but just take it from us. You're not going to be able to see the numbers on these things. There he is.
The brown and green bike.
Okay, the brown and green. All right, there is Villapoto in 3rd. Tiffany Simmons, what are you hearing on Villapoto?
Well, guys, I spoke with Ryan Villapoto earlier, and he told me obviously they would have liked to have won the first 2 rounds, but he knew in the back of his mind, as long as I make it to week 3, I'm going to have a chance to work everything out. The team focused on their rear shocks all of last week. They actually spent time down in Florida to practice and prepare for the heat that they were expecting up here. It paid off in Moto 1, but after Moto 1, when I spoke with him again, he said, hey, I needed that win for myself. It was a monkey off the back type of race, but he was very quick to say he still feels he needs to back it up with a solid Moto 2.
Well, Villapoto's definitely doing that, and I would say that as opposed to the first 2 rounds, the Kawasaki team has definitely got the bike dialed in.
Now we know how Villapoto got into 3rd. Millsap's down, and he's falling further and further through the field, so that's tough luck for the number 18.
Wow, and that close-up shot there, Jamie, you can see just how much mud was on his visor, his helmet. Really weights you down.
I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous, but Chad Reed has just moved into the lead.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out what happened here. If there was a problem for Alessi in these muddy conditions, it certainly wouldn't be a surprise considering how slippery it is. This is Dungey, who got his crash out of the way early, and he is in 5th right now.
And the crazy thing is, I was just about to say that, you know, going back to last year, Andrew Short was dominating Moto 2, and Dungey came through and did the double. But now, you know, Alessi had a 15-second lead on Chad Reed, and they just swapped places. So this track has a habit of just, you can't predict who's going to win. You really can't. And in these conditions, it's a crapshoot.
Yeah, the way Villopoto dominated the first moto, you would have thought he'd just come out here and do it again. But that's not the way it works in motocross. Things change in a hurry.
Yeah, I mean, Villopoto lapped up to 15th. And he lapped 15th in the first moto, and this could be a similar situation, if not higher, if a rider like Reed, Alessi, or Villopoto can stay on 2 wheels and keep turning some fast lap times, because the back markers, the guys that are in the back, they're back there because they're having problems. They're not having a good moto, and they're going much slower.
Here's Millsaps. We saw that he went down, lost position to Villopoto, then lost position to Dungey, so that puts the number 18 into 5th, and he has Tommy Hahn right behind him in 6th. Hahn out of Kansas. This is riding and training in Texas now, and making a run.
Hahn still has his goggles, too. That's going to be a big advantage for him at this point.
Behind Hahn, you have Kevin Windham, Tyler Bright, one of those independent riders, a privateer, the race of his life right now. He is running in 8th. Ricky Dietrich is 9th. Nick Way is 10th. Focus back in on the new leader, Chad Reed. And I don't even know, Jeff, if he knows he's in the lead. A lot of times these guys go down, there's riders falling all over the place. Might he have not even seen Alessi?
That's true, and he doesn't have his goggles right now, and that's gonna be a problem. Makes your eyes water. There's not only roost from other bikes as you're lapping some of the lap field, but there's mud coming up from your own bike that he has to deal with.
So treacherous on these guys. They're not just some of the fittest athletes, they're some of the toughest. Chad Reed leading the way here in the mud of Pennsylvania. A wild day of motocross racing. Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship in Pennsylvania. Earlier today, our own Jeff Emmett got to look at some of the new safety innovations, keeping these riders in good shape on the motocross track.
In the past 5 years, the sport has become safer than at any point in history, and it's because of items like this. Start with the neck brace. It is meant to limit the range of motion in the neck area in the event of a crash, help protect against a spinal cord injury. Also, all the riders have to wear what's called the hats-off device. This is an air bladder that is mounted inside of the helmet. And what the medic crew can do is they take out the chin pads, and they have the ability to blow the bladder up and push the helmet off of the rider's head rather than pull it off. And of course, the knee brace. It's been around for a number of years, but it's very rare to find a rider who competes without a knee brace these days.
All right, talk about wearing knee braces on a track like this. You see the riders dangling their legs off the bike. Comes in handy on a day like today where it's all rutted and slippery, Jeff.
Yeah, we're taking a look at Alessi right there. And it's when you fall over, you know, and when things don't go right is when you really need those protective devices.
Got a battle on our hands here for second. Alessi and now Villopoto on the number 2. And these two are old rivals since they were kids on mini bikes, 12, 13 years old, pounding on each other, coast to coast. Their families are into it, and here they are racing again as professionals at High Point.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. During qualifying practice today, I was standing with Tony Alessi, Mike Alessi's father, and they were kind of in the same position in qualifying. And I said, this looks like a replay of 2003, you know?
Yeah, and Villopoto makes the move on Alessi. This thing is tough for us to see the numbers. The fans are probably confused what's going on. The bikes are completely covered, but the rider that just came over the jump first is Villopoto, then it's Alessi. That is second and third, Jamie.
Yeah, Villopoto's looking real good right now. He's looking to take the overall win, but what Alessi's got to watch out for now is Dungey's going to come hot on his heels, because Dungey was riding fast, but Villopoto is the fastest out on track. He's got to catch Reed. Is it impossible? We've seen Andrew Short get caught by Ryan Dungey last year. No, it's not. But these conditions, very, very treacherous.
Well, what's the plan here for Villopoto? Does he try to keep it on 2 wheels himself and minimize the mistakes, Jeff, and hope Reed makes one? Or does he put the hammer down and try to make things happen?
Well, Villopoto still has his goggles, it looks like. And that'll be key as they're working past these lapped riders. But when it comes to these sort of conditions, yeah, Villopoto excels. He's been one of the best that I've ever seen in this situation. If I'm Villopoto right now, I'm just riding a smart race. Okay. You realize second is going to give you the overall, and even though the championship points are based off of each moto. The overall really has no bearing on the championship points other than having the most. Having that overall and that claim to fame is going to be a big confidence booster for Ryan Villopoto.
And I think, too, coming in second place today, he's really backing up that race one win. That's what he wanted, you know, when he spoke to Tiffany earlier. He really wants to back up these races with a great second race finish, and that's what's going to take him. But a smart race from him today, and a not so smart race from Chad Reed, that could put him in that #1 position. We don't know yet. We've got a lot of time left on the clock and those final 2 laps.
Yeah, exactly. So 8 minutes and 2 laps to go. That is plenty of time for Reed to make a mistake and maybe shake things up. Villopoto knows that. Villopoto did not need to pass Mike Alessi for second. Whoa, got a little sideways there. He didn't need to pass Alessi to win that overall for the day. But like you said, Jeff, just trying to get as many points in every single race as possible.
Yeah, but now you can see some lines starting to groove in certain spots, and now some of the wet, slippery spots, maybe a line gets grooved in, okay, a main groove, and it gives you that false sensation that the track is good, and then you see like Villopoto went just a tad bit offline, bike just squirreled out underneath of him, so track is more difficult now than even on the first couple laps when it was really wet.
Yeah, I spoke to Metcalf earlier, and he was saying that, you know, every time he went for what he thought was the right line, it was the wrong line because that hard pack was right underneath it, and that was in great conditions. He says the minute it starts raining, it's going to be absolutely hell. So it's just going to be like an ice skating rink, and that's what it's proved to be this afternoon here in High Point.
Hey, some of them have the deal, and they're dancing here. And I'm telling you, Dungey, he's making a comeback right now.
Yeah, and Alessi, since he's not in the championship picture right now, Dungey's got to get him because he knows Villopoto, Reed, those are the guys that Dungey is got a battle with for this #1 plate at the end of the year. So he's got to get through Alessi right now.
Yeah, that's right. If he wants to keep that #1 plate, he's got to get past Alessi, and it's just a formality now. Look, I mean, he's really picking up the pace. He's reduced that 9-second gap, and Alessi, great riding, fantastic coming off that injury, but Dungey's going to get him, and he's going to move into that 3rd spot.
And Villopoto, about 16 seconds behind your leader. Alessi is just a few seconds back from that, and Dungey, as you can see, just a couple seconds right there. So for Dungey, second place is not out of the question. I mean, he is close enough. He's only about 6 seconds behind second, which is Villopoto.
Here is Dungey. Let's explain Alessi's situation again. Had a big crash and a concussion a couple weeks ago at our opener in California and had to go through, his dad said one day, 15 hours of neurological tests, looking at numbers, colors, and testing his memory to make sure he was truly able to come back to racing. The last thing they want is these riders to come back too quick. Speaking of a comeback, here is Dungey after a fall, making the pass on Alessi and taking over 3rd. That's just grit and determination at this point. And Dungey making up huge championship points here after his mistake early. Now, we mentioned safety and the different things that this industry does to try to keep these riders in good shape. Well, this is a little bit different scenario here. Ian Treadle, one of our youngest riders out here, had a vicious crash at Daytona a few months ago. Go to allysports.com to find out more how you can help Ian Treadle recover from his injuries. Great thing the industry has done here to back one of the great young riders. Stay with us. Tomorrow night, coverage of the Stanley Cup Final continues on NBC. After Vancouver's win on Friday night, the series heads back to Boston as the Bruins host the Canucks in a pivotal Game 6. Stanley Cup Final presented by Geico tomorrow, 8 Eastern on NBC. Back to the racing action. It's the Rockstar Energy Drink High Point National, and Australia's Chad Reed is riding in a very muddy racetrack in Pennsylvania and making it look like it's his backyard. He's got this track dialed in, and we've been talking a lot about Reed's team situation, his mental situation. He feels good at the races. He built his own team. He's got people around him he likes, and it's paying off. Yeah, it definitely is. And you only have to see in the Perrier, he has the biggest line of fans coming up for his autograph. Right. And he gives them all the time they need. And like you say, you know, he's got a fantastic team. It's all brand new for him this year. So he's just giving it 100% because the guys behind him are giving him 100% too. So it's good to see Chad get this look. And it'd be great to see him back at the top of the sport. He's a fantastic ambassador in both America and Australia. And
for basically motocross worldwide. So Chad Reed setting up his own team. Maybe that'll inspire a new generation of team owners.
Could be. Now, Chad Reed was the 2009 champion of this series. Last year was battling Dungey for the title and came down with an illness, Epstein-Barr virus. He had trained so hard, he basically wore himself into the ground, and Jeff not able to live up to his potential a season ago. Considered retirement. Has come back stronger than ever, it looks like, in 2011.
Well, I mean, I've been in Chad Reed's situation. At the end of my career in '99, I formed my own race team, and I know what that mentality is like. I know the drive and why he's racing, okay, and what he's doing, and I think it's just so awesome that he's having the opportunity here to surround himself with the people on the team and to have the success that he's having and how they're all enjoying it, all the way from his son and his wife and everyone else on the team. It's just been a pleasure, to see it happen.
Tiffany, what are you hearing on the 2-2 team of Chad Reed?
Well, you guys were just mentioning his passion and determination. It was briefly mentioned at the top of the show that he did take a rock to his left shoulder. In between Moto 1 and Moto 2, Chad sat inside of his truck with ice packaged all over his shoulder. It was bleeding. He now has a Band-Aid on it. They were hoping it wouldn't affect him. Clearly, from what it looks like, it hasn't. But again, that just goes to show you the determination he has to come out here and not let anything stop him from doing well.
All right, and Reed has got a pretty nice lead right now on second place, but second place, Villopoto, is not safe at all from Ryan Dungey, who has closed the gap, and we might have a battle between the Ryans for the #2 spot before it's over, Jeff.
Yeah, and they'll be coming over the top of this jump pretty quick. But look at the top of the screen. That's the countdown clock. Yeah. It's at 18 seconds right now. So next lap around, Reed will get the 2-lap board. So we got about 2.5 laps left in this race.
Okay, so Villopoto, Dungey, we expect to be close. There goes Dungey by, and did we lose Villopoto, or did we just miss him again? We can't even explain. Yeah, he just went. There's Villopoto. It's so muddy out here that the riders, a lot of times they pull in after a moto like this, and they don't know what position they even finished in. They're just trying to ride around and complete their laps.
Yeah, I think for Villopoto right now, it's got to be smooth sailing all the way home, because he knows he'll just see that pit board, he'll know Dungey's on his tail, and that's it. He may get a little bit scared, he may put the hammer down, but for him, just stay smooth right now, because Dungey is charging, and out of the two, Dungey's more likely to make the mistake.
Yeah, but Dungey really has been, just riding fantastic this year. He's been really confident, he's been really fluid on the bike, and riding like the champion that he is. Hey, this has been a strong ride for him here in the Rockstar Makita Suzuki team also.
Well, at the very top of the show, we saw him crash at the beginning of lap 2, and you mentioned that, you get the handlebar down in the mud, and it's hard to even hold on to the bike. That could send your whole day south in a hurry. He's managed to overcome that.
So many laps, so many motos in the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship that, you just go out and you keep plugging away every lap that you're on the track. You try as hard as you can, and you do the best you can.
So Ryan Dungey, kid out of Minnesota, 21 years old. He is in third, trying to run down the Washington State native, the 22-year-old Ryan Villopoto, and in motocross terms, considered the old guy here, 29-year-old Chad Reed out of Australia, leading the way late at High Point. Last lap, Chad Reed in the center of your screen in the blue riding gear, and the red bike is leading the way. Can he hang on? It's going to be close. Let's get to know more about Chad Reed leading this race at High Point, trying to deliver a victory.
I started racing when I was 4, and then that's all I ever known. It's all I've ever remembered, just going to the races, as an amateur, traveling, Australia. I started traveling internationally when I was 11 years old, and that was awesome, just a blast, to be 11. And I was flying to Indonesia to do quite a bit of racing, off to New Zealand. When I was 13 or 14, I got to go to England. Always wanted to come to the U.S., like it was always the goal. Looking back at it, sure, I missed out on a lot of things, but, for where I am today and for the fortunate things that I have to look back on, it's one of those things where I don't feel like I got to miss a whole lot. I feel like I've built a really strong team and just a great group of people, and we enjoy racing for I feel the right reasons. We just love it. And really that's why we're here. That's why we're going racing in the outdoor nationals. At the end of the day, I have a family to look after, and you have to look at the budgets, and you have to look at what's affordable and what's not affordable. But at the end of the day, I didn't want to be at the couch and watching it on live television. Although I'm excited that we have live television, I didn't want to be at home watching it on the couch.
Okay, Ryan Villopoto was second, was 11 seconds behind. Now on the last lap, he got it within 4. So if Reed wants to hang on and win this moto, he has got to go error-free in these last couple of turns, Jeff.
Well, the pressure's on right now, and you start to sense that, and you can feel it from all the fans that are here still cheering him on. There's Villopoto in the background, so any mistake by Chad Reed, and he could give up this moto win. There's Weimer, Villopoto's teammate.
Just went a lap down. Cheney, it's tough. Reed's got to pick it back up.
It really is tough because Villopoto's got the bit between his teeth now, and he's really trying to make moves on Chad Reed. And we're coming down. This is the last lap. If Reed gets squirrely, if he gets out of shape anywhere, big things are going to happen for Villopoto.
You basically have 2 lapped riders between Reed and Villopoto. Villopoto would basically be the 4th rider you'd see in your screen. Here is Reed jumping downhill. He could be home free from here, and some of the toughest conditions you can possibly race a motorcycle on. A lot of riders fell. Chad Reed stayed strong. He stayed consistent, and he will win here at High Point Raceway in Pennsylvania. Doesn't matter what the conditions are, Chad Reed is tough to beat in 2011. There's a mechanic, Lars. Sir Chad, they say. And yeah, he might be the older guy of these championship contenders, but he's been the stronger one so far this year, too.
And guys, look at the mud clumps on top of his helmet, on the mouth guard, all over the front of the bike, and especially in his eyes.
Final margin of victory, 5.8 seconds. So Reed actually distanced himself from Villopoto down the stretch. There's Villopoto in the number 2 spot. Dungey taking 3rd. And congratulating your winner. We have just completed a very, very tough day of racing in the mud and the hills of Pennsylvania. This man, Ryan Villopoto, will come out on top once we do all the math. We'll show you how this second moto turned out with our Lucas Oil race recap.
Off the start here in Moto 2, Dungey gets there first, but Mike Alessi on the KTM sweeps around the outside. Looked like he had the race in hand.
Yeah, and then Dungey in second fell at the beginning of lap 2, so Alessi had a big lead. Riders falling all over the place in the mud, including Davey Millsaps, who was running up front. Just treacherous conditions, and that eventually zapped Alessi. Chad Reed stayed on 2 wheels all the way through and held on to win the moto over Ryan Villopoto and Dungey. So the good luck continues to roll Chad Reed's way. And hey, you got to earn the good luck in motocross. And on a tough race day like this, Chad Reed definitely earned this victory. After Villopoto and Dungey, Alessi, after his crash, held on for 4th. Nice job by the veteran 33-year-old Kevin Windham in 5th. Ricky Dietrich, a converted off-road rider, now racing motocross, 6th. Tommy Hahn, 7th. Way, Metcalf, and Weimer round out the top 10. And Tiffany has Chad Reed on the podium. Tiffany?
Chad, no goggles. You had a banged-up shoulder, a rough Moto 1. What kind of a challenge was this for you today?
That was a tough challenge, but that's when you got to dig deep, you know, and we had tough conditions. The track was so slippery, and Alessi was just willing to let it hang out, and then I just had to get into a pace, and I think he might have got caught up with a lapper or something like that and went down. So I just tried to put some good laps in and then just control the race. It was so hard and had to take off my goggles. And, man, just hats off to all the guys for regrouping and making it better. You know, all the guys at Bellray, Tutu Motorsports, American Honda, Mitch from PC, all the guys at FX for making my bike look awesome. And I'm just, you know, pumped to get another moto win. I was really disappointed after the first one.
Congratulations to you.
Thanks.
Guys.
Thanks, Tiffany. Let's show you the overall results when we combine the race 1 and race 2. Villopoto, who won that first one, is going to edge Dungey and Reed. So Reed has a 1-race win today, but the overall for the weekend goes to Ryan Villopoto, and he's got to be happy about that after struggling through the first 2 rounds. And Mike Alessi, 4th in his comeback to the series. But let's talk to our overall race winner, Ryan Villopoto. Tiffany?
Ryan, earlier you told me that you felt you needed to back up Moto 1 by doing a good job here at Moto 2. Placing the way that you did, what does that say to and send a message to the rest of the field?
You know, it was pretty crazy. As soon as we lined up on the gate, the skies opened up pretty hard, and then the track is just like you know, it's so slippery. It's just survival. So get a good start, and it was decent. And then, you know, just kind of picked some guys off and ended up second there, you know. I seen Chad. I really couldn't do a whole lot with that, but, you know, I just can't thank everybody at Monster Energy Kawasaki, Dunlop Tires for getting me out to a great start, Thor, Alpenstars, Oakley, Vans, Maxima, Renthal, Falcon, and Volcom. Thank you, guys.
Congrats to you, guys.
Let's check out the upcoming schedule here on Ally Sports. Got lots of great things coming your way, and that includes more motocross on the July 4th weekend at Redbud and the Pantech Open at the end of July, and more motocross racing in August from Unadilla. Let's go back to the podium with Tiffany.
All right, Ryan, things didn't start off the way you wanted to them. What happened?
You know, I got off to a good start, and the track was greasy. You know, didn't do a hot lap, just try to keep the mud light, or the bike light, to get a good start. But right up there on the start, ended up throwing it down there. Just front end started going, and it just went more than I thought. And then again, over the hump over here, just I landed another time, went out. But you know, it's racing. The mud's kind of unpredictable. You know, kind of just got to use what you learn. But had a great time and pumped on the day. And congrats to everybody.
Congrats to you, guys.
Well, the key to motocross is being consistent in all conditions through 2 races of the afternoon. Ryan Villapoto wins one in the dry. Chad Reed wins one in the wet. It was great racing regardless of what the weather had in store for us, and we're glad you folks are able to enjoy it with us. For Tiffany Simons, Jamie Bestwick, Jeff Emig, I'm Jason Wygant. Thanks for watching Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Racing. From High Point in Pennsylvania, congratulations to our race winners, Chad Reed and Ryan Villapoto.